Good morning, good evening.
And good day.
Good day.
Shane Miller here from CrossFit 819 along with the amazing Coach B. And we are here today to introduce Selena Willows. She's our precision nutrition certified coach. Will be helping a lot of people with their nutrition.
And we'll talk about build-up sets and why they're important, whether you're new or you're a seasoned athlete.
And then we're going to navigate some of the common programming prescriptions that you're going to see when you're in here.
We're going to get into some details and percentages and numbers, stuff that some people really like.
Yes, so we're going to get to all that stuff in a minute, but first we're going to give you Selena. Welcome, Selena.
Hi, I'm Coach Selena, and I am the nutrition coach here at CrossFit 819. I am precision nutrition certified. I'm not going to bore you with the gory details of how I lost over 100 pounds. You can read all about that in the URL below. But I do want to tell you why I use precision nutrition. And that's because it took me over 10 years of struggling with various diets and different plans to lose any weight at all. And then Shane introduced me to precision nutrition and it saved my life, okay? So there will be more videos to come. We are going to talk about nutrition, all that stuff. And before I hand it back to Battered Shane, I want to leave you with one major game changer. If you struggle with your weight, if you have trouble losing it, or you lose it and you gain it back, then this is for you, okay? Sustainable weight loss comes from consistency. And we can only be consistent with small changes to daily habits. If you struggle and you've tried to do an overhaul and it's not working, small changes to daily habits are going to be absolutely key for you. All right, so with that, I give you back to Battered and Shane.
All right. And Coach B is taking care of the build-up sets, so we'll let him go.
Build-up sets. Build-up sets, if you're not familiar with the concept, is when you come into the board or your coach sends you workouts, and then the workout for today, let's say, is 4 sets of 10 reps of deadlifts. All right, the notes with that would be build-up sets are, for example, 15 sets of 30%, 10%, 10 sets of 40%, then 50%, 60%, 70%, and so on until you reach the actual percentages of the workout. Now, why are these important? We'll talk about why are these important for someone who's just started training and for people who are experienced and seasoned athletes. If you just started training, why is this important? It's because we want you to reproduce the same mechanics over and over and over again throughout the whole workout. This is why it's very important that you take seriously the light weights. And technique is built with light weights. PVCs, empty bar, and then starting with small weights. Let's think of it as if I filmed you guys through the lifts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I put a collage, all the videos will be the same. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to see. The golden rule stays the same. It's mechanics and then consistency, meaning reproducing the same mechanics over and over again, and then and only then we would move into intensity, which means more reps, more weights, and maybe faster, heavier. For the seasoned athlete, why do we emphasize build-up sets? It's because we want to prime the body, meaning get the nervous system prepared, your tendons prepared, your joints, as well as your muscles to lift the heavier weights. Now, this goes to both categories. If you started to do your build-up sets, or even if you reach your actual sets, and at some point you felt like something's sticking, your joints don't move the way they should be. You feel like your pecs, for example, are a bit tight. Take some time, go foam roll, use the stress point ball, massage it a bit, do some mobility drills, go again and hit the same weight you did before, and then check if it feels better. If it doesn't feel better, you better spend more time mobilizing, or maybe today is not a good day to go heavier, okay? And with that, always listen to your coach, listen to your body, go by feel, and go by asking your coach, how does it look? Your coaches may see things you don't realize by feel, or even if you videotape yourself. Good? I hope that was clear. If you have any questions, in the comments below. Point number 3.
Now I've given you some common programming prescriptions about it. If you can just remove the board for me, I'm going to bring on the other board. All right, don't get scared, it is actually English. What we've got here are some items that you will see sometimes when you're looking at the programming of the day. Like 1 rep max, 3 rep max, 5 rep max, 3 sets of 3, 5 sets of 3, 3 sets of 5, 5 sets of 5. Those are just common ones, but there are plenty of other ones. These are just a few examples I picked to show you. Now, when you do a 1 rep max, what is a 1 rep max? It's 100% of the heaviest weight that you can possibly do for 1 rep. Your 3 rep max, okay, is 91% of the heaviest weight you can do for 1 rep. 5 rep max is 85% of the heaviest weight you can do for 1 rep. Typically, when we program 3 sets of 3, we're looking at you to do somewhere between 80 and 85% of your 1 rep max. 5 sets of 3, it's a little bit more volume, so it's a bit more demanding. If you take lots of rest between the sets, sometimes you can get around the same weight as your 3 sets of 3, but frequently it'll be a little bit lower, so we'll generally program it a little bit lower. 3 sets of 5, 70 to 80%. 5 sets of 5, 65 to 75%. Now this column here, this is the percent of your 1 rep max that will commonly be wanting you to try to achieve based on those sets and reps, so based on that volume. Now, when you're doing this, you hear about PRs quite frequently, and PRs are when you set a personal record. So when you're setting a personal record, you shouldn't always be trying to set a personal record, okay? Personal records would be set, like if you're doing a 1 rep max, when you beat your previous 1 rep max, so like 100+%. For a 3 rep max, you're gonna be above 91%, so somewhere between the 91 to 94%. 5 rep max, if a 5 rep max is 85% of your 1 rep max, then beating your previous one, you're gonna be probably in the 85 to 90% range. For 3 sets of 3, if this is what's programmed and you're able to beat it, you'll be getting somewhere just above that, the 85 to 90% range. 5 sets of 3, you'll be beating it here a little bit, okay? 3 sets of 5, you'll be a little bit over this, maybe 80 to 85%. And then 5 sets of 5, you'll be beating this range here by just a little bit. Now understand, setting a PR when you're doing this is where you're really pushing your body to its limits. That means your muscular system, your nervous system, all the tendons, ligaments, everything is stressed to its max. So not everybody should be doing this type of PR work where you're really trying to push weights beyond what you've done before. That also stress the body heavily. So who should be doing these types of things? We're going to call hitting a PR in one sense, it's like your limit PR. Like there's no way you can lift more. All right. So a 1 rep max, probably you shouldn't be doing that unless you've got at least 18 months of training under your belt. All right, because there's no real point to it. If you're doing this much before 18 months, what's going to happen is that number is not going to be significantly higher than, say, a 3 rep max. You just can't get that much more excitation out of your muscles and nervous system to produce more tension that'll let you get more weight. So you're really not purposeful, and it's a bigger likelihood of getting injury because you don't have that movement pattern solidified yet in your nervous system and your brain that you can reproduce it under those heavier loads without it breaking down. 3 rep max, 12 months plus, that's my recommendation. 5 rep max, 6 to 12 months. At 6 months, you really don't have a great pattern, but with 5 reps, you're really not going to be lifting that much weight compared to those higher 3 and 1 rep maxes. So 6 to 12 months, it will be okay to do a test. And understand, they're tests, okay? It's not, you wouldn't do more than one of them. It's one set of 5 reps. Now, getting into some bigger volumes, 3 sets of 3, 5 sets of 3. If you are really going to push a 3 set of 3 to its limit, your last rep on each of those sets, and well, more specifically on your last set, the last rep here is going to be the same level of intensity and effort as a 3 rep max. So I would say you don't want to be doing this to that level of effort until you've got about 18 months of training behind you. 5 sets of 3, because it is a bigger volume, it's a little bit lighter, probably 18 months still. When you get down to 3 sets of 5, 12 months is going to be okay. All right, you can do it as a test where you're really pushing that, so your 5 reps on your last set is as hard as your 5 rep max. Okay, and then 5 sets of 5. Again, we don't want to be doing that when you're too much with less than a year of training experience, because again, you're working just as hard as it, and we said that you shouldn't do this until a little bit later. Now, there's a couple of caveats to that. If you are, and sub-max training is where you take these same things, 3x3 or any other prescription set times reps, but you're not doing it at quite such a high level. You're doing it at the lower ranges, okay? So you're not pushing it as hard or even lower than these ranges. People who are in a much younger training age can certainly do it and get a benefit from it. Now there's an exception where, even though I've got 6 months plus, okay, for sub-max training with sets of 3, where you're really pushing it, there's an exception. People who have coordination issues, who they really have a hard time effectively reproducing the movements when they're trying to learn their techniques. If you're giving them sets of 5 reps, it might take them 40 seconds to do 5 reps because they move very slowly because they're trying to figure it out. For those people, 5 reps is going to produce too much fatigue and it's going to interfere with the coordination. So what's really important in that case is that you drop the reps, and sets of 3 I found is very useful for this. So sets of 3, it's short enough that you won't accumulate that much fatigue, and it will allow you to still practice the techniques and improve. So that's kind of where there's a slight variation to that 6 months coordination even before that, so even in your first 6 months. So hopefully this helps a little bit. If you do this properly, we're gonna avoid this curve. This curve right here, this is the curve where people try to lift a lot of weight way too quickly in their training. They don't build a good technique. What happens is they do get stronger right away, but because their nervous system hasn't plateaued, because their nervous system hasn't learned these movements properly, as they really push the weights high, they plateau and they just can't seem to get higher. A better curve is this. You're gonna have to stay lighter on your weights for a longer period of time, but those reps done with those lighter weights, those reps are gonna really help solidify that pattern, and then when you just start to load up, you're gonna be able to go much higher, okay? And as always, any good curve will be populated with a lot of ups and downs, and so those ups and downs are basically the fact that there's some days where you're gonna feel really strong, and other days where you're not gonna be as strong. That's normal because your body only has a limited amount of recovery ability. So given that limited amount of recovery ability, you shouldn't expect that every day you're gonna be able to come in and do top numbers. There's days you'll have to do lower numbers, and you should still feel good about it. Don't feel like, oh, I had to do the lower end of the range. That's totally fine. So with that, we're done this, and we're gonna have a lot more great stuff for you coming up. As always, make sure if you wanna find out everything that we're doing, click subscribe in the bottom on the YouTube channel, and make sure on the bell that you click the notification bell, or you will not get notified when we put out new videos. So hope you enjoyed our video today. Coach Shane Miller out. Coach B saying, have a good one. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, please get in touch with me, let me know. We're gonna be posting this on our YouTube channel, and we'll also be posting it to our Facebook pages. When you see it on the Facebook pages or in our group, please ask your questions in the comments, and I'll make sure to get back to you.